All right, so round two of playoff predictions for the Munich Major is over, and we're moving on to round three. So, of course, as I started the previous playoff predictions video, I'm going to just talk about the previous day a bit and then head into my thoughts coming into uh, tomorrow's matches for Saturday. So, to start off, we had Furia play Team Secret for the first game of the day, and it was kind of disappointing, honestly. I didn't get that border match that I wanted because Secret ended up banning it, though Furia had the opportunity to pick it because it got past the first, it got past the pick phase. So I was kind of disappointed Furia didn't pick it. Um, but yeah, it was pretty one sided this game. Secret kind of just dominated it, so I was kind of disappointed. But the big thing here I want to talk about for this series, because I specifically said because I only got one prediction right today. I said specifically for the series because I thought the Secret Furia game in my mind would be a much closer matchup, and either team could win. And I remember saying if in my video yesterday, if Furia win, I thought they would also be M80 because of the Furia playstyle is just really good against NA teams. And they always just seem to really struggle with it. But I said, however, if Secret win, and I specifically said this, if Secret beat Furia, which was very possible, um, that M80 would beat Secret, and that is exactly what happened. So I wish I went with my secondary thought on my predictions there, but it is what it is. Even if I got after that first day of playoffs, even if I got literally every single um, of the remaining 8 predictions correct, I still would not have got the battle pass. We are already at past the skin at least, so that's good. Um, but yeah, now I don't even think I can get 15 because there's only 4 uh, left. Actually, no, I can't get 15, but I have to get every single one right, which is very unlikely, but not impossible. Um, but yeah, anyways, like I said, my thoughts was if Furia won Secret, then they would also beat M80. But if Secret beat Furia, then they would lose to M80. And then yeah, it was the latter there. And then for the one prediction I got right was actually kind of one of the harder ones because both these teams were kind of underdogs heading into playoffs here and they ended up playing each other. But yeah, NIP just kind of showed up just like not ready for the moment. Like they were very like shaky. They got it together a little bit in that second map and managed to bring it to overtime, but it wasn't enough to survive and they ended up going out 2-0. So we did get that prediction. Um, but then the last one, yeah, for the day, wildcard G2. That one was a rough one because it was looking shit was looking sweet after map one. And I was like G2, they came in, they let wildcard pick their most preference map, not even labs, and then 7-2 them on it. And I was like, okay, this shit is done, bro. They smoked them on their own map. No way G2 lose this series. And then wildcard just for the next 2 maps, honestly, they were the better team. They on Cafe and on Skyscraper. G2 had a lot of good opportunities and just kind of blew it. Specifically, I like remembered vividly the clutch on Skyscraper where Stompin went outside on Repel and put him in a position where I think it was Dash could just sit on the case and defuse it, and Stompin literally couldn't kill him because of the Repel animation. Took too long, and he had to go run back to the kitchen window. That one was like haunting because G2 would have had a 4-2 attack half, which would have won them the game because they got 3 rounds on their defense. Um, that map ended up going to OT, which Wildcard won in the OT. But if they got that 4th attack, they would have won 7-5. So the small little things. And same with the cafe too. The cafe just was rough. I mean, they almost brought it back. The cafe was like it reminded me of them playing cafe against Secret in the EWC Grand Final where they played cafe so many times and had shown it so many times where um, the enemy was just fully prepared for it. Not the enemy, their opponent was fully prepared for it. So definitely a rough exit for GG because I think everyone pretty much expected them to beat whoever came out of the wildcard NIP match like pretty easily. And it's gonna be interesting I don't know how the crowd's gonna be because out of all the teams playing today, like the G2 crowd was by far the most prominent. They had a lot of fans there. So I mean, which isn't a surprise because I mean, G2 I believe have a HQ based in Berlin. So I think they have a pretty large German fan base and just European fan base in general. So yeah, but shout out to Wildcard. They have really come to play because even was listening to like a Spiker interview after they beat G2 and they kind of said, their expectations for them this event was to really just make top 8, make playoffs and see where they can go from there. So I think that's like one of Wildcard's like biggest strengths right now is they're playing right now with no expectations because they know that every team they face from here on out, pretty much besides NIP in my opinion, is really, they're seen as the underdog. And I mean, that is the truth because I mean, how can you not see them as the underdog even for these next matches? Like if Wildcard go on to beat M80, they'd have to play FaZe or Falcons and like, I don't think many people are taking Wildcard over FaZe or Falcons in Wildcard's really first major playoffs in history as an org, I believe, in Siege. So, yeah. But anyways, let's go on to the matches. So first we're going to actually talk about FaZe Falcons because that's the first match of the day. Because this one needs to be played first to determine who's going to play these guys later on. So first we're just going to look at FaZe. Now, I think everybody knows that FaZe hate Border. And Falcons, I would say, like Border. I wouldn't say it's their number one map, but I definitely know they like Border. But I don't think FaZe let it through. They literally, let's look at their ban history. Oh, they banned Border first against KAG. They banned Border first against M80, and you'll see this trend. They banned Border first. This is the only one where they didn't ban Border first. They banned Bank first, but then BDS banned it for them. They banned Border first, and you can see the patterns here. They banned Border, not liking the Border phase, and they also not huge like Nighthaven Labs or Cafe enjoyers either. They'll definitely play Labs, and some Cafe, but I don't really see a Border going through here at all. So yeah, FaZe are much more likely to be like they've definitely liked the layer, though I don't think it's their best map, honestly. Though they very willingly play it, and they also really like the consulate, as well as the bank, and they've added Chalet to their map pool, which I think is very impressive. There are definitely no Shalotras on Chalet anymore these days. And even in their latest series, like they play console layer. So, and they even they left Labs up, right? Of course. And then here, they beat Wildcard on Chalet and Club. But yeah, not very good on Cafe, as you can see. And we even saw that EWC, they got smoked on Cafe by G2. And then yeah, here's some more like Club cons. So yeah, again, Labs, they like Labs. But yeah, this is my concern. They'll play layer, but it's weird because I think these teams just kind of learn from each other because they're both so good. Like they got smoked by M80 on layer, then they played M80 on layer again, and then they beat them on layer. Um, but yeah, two very different layer games with two different very different game plans, as you can just see by the bans. So yeah, FaZe are kind of like so on layer. They're like can be really good and can be really bad. It all depends on their game plan and the other team's game plan, and which one is better on the day. So yeah, and then we'll go to Falcons. Falcons also really like layer. However, it's also not a perfect map for them because like they can lose it. Like they lost to G2, another good layer team. There are tons of just really good layer teams. Honestly, a lot of teams like playing it these days. But yeah, I think a strength for Falcons here in this series is their map pool. They definitely have the maps that they like to play less, specifically Cafe um, and Club. They don't play a lot of them, but it's not like completely out of the question either. But they really like Labs. They really like Border. They really like Consulate. Consulate. They've like played Consulate like in all their like grand finals, I think, in 2024, or at least most of them. I remember because I know they played it in Montreal. They played it at EWC. I'm pretty sure they played it in Manchester. It's been a while. And the one place I can't remember if they played it was SI. I think they played it at SI. Um, but it's been a while since I've watched those matches. Um, but yeah, absolutely love those maps. And Falcons also have no problem, in my opinion, playing like a skyscraper or chalet either. So I think that's what's gonna make this hard for FaZe. If FaZe don't get like, their top preference maps, which is honestly they kind of do line up with Falcons. Um, so it could just matter on who's gonna be better on those maps on the day, or if one of those teams just trolls the ban phase and let's say a border slip through for Falcons, or Falcons, they go to like maybe a club or a layer. Though, like I said, Falcons are no slouches on those maps either. So I think it'll be a very close game. But even though FaZe beat M80 to be here, which I really didn't think they would, and it didn't look like they would in that first map of Concept when they played M80, but they ended up coming back. But I feel like this tournament is just going to be like Falcons tournament again to lose. Like they seem to be the form just seems too good in my opinion. So yeah. Next we have wildcard M80, and let's look at their maps. And when we talked about wildcard yesterday, um, I said their biggest weakness was their map pool, and G2. I got G2 in my head. G2 did not do a good job at exploiting that. The three maps they let through in their series are all maps that wildcard like playing. Um, like they let Sky through, right? And then they let Cafe through, right? A map they don't really ban. And then they also let Labs through, a map they don't ban at all. They don't ban the map at all, and that's the one they freaking beat them. It's this is such a good series. It's just crazy how things can turn out like that. How you can let Wildcard pick their um best map, absolutely destroy them on it, and then lose the next two, which Wildcard are still good on, but not, in my opinion, not as good on as they should have been on Labs. Um, but yeah. Um, so yeah, Wildcard, as you can see, like they like their Sky Club, Labs, Cafe Consult are like in their top five. Um, but yeah, like they don't play Layer, Bank, or Border at all. Um, and it definitely like I don't think they're gonna let Lair through the pool in this. I think it'd be a big mistake because I mean, are really good at that map. They don't ban it at all. Now, I think an interesting map for this series could be Bank because M80 have been perma banning Bank. And Wildcard, while they haven't been perma banning it, they have been heavily banning it. Like, they don't really want to play it either. Um, so I think that could be interesting. I think M80 aren't going to leave up a club for them. Um, and besides those, I think they kind of like a lot of sim maps. Both really good skyscraper teams. Um, a lot of wildcard skyscraper strats are M80 skyscraper strats. So I definitely could see like an ego child sky here from M80 to be like you you took our strats on this map and we're gonna show you why we're better at them than you are. Um, because like these teams just both really like sky. We could also see a cafe here again, very high purpose maps for these teams. And I think we could also see probably like a consulate or labs as well this series. And again, like I said for G2, they M80 should be better. Um, but if they're not playing like a team, like G2 were, then it can be rough. But I feel like M80 have just better synergy than the current G2 does. And it showed in that secret match. Like they went down map 1 and then they were also losing on map 3 and then came back from a 5-3 deficit to win 7-5. So, yeah. Now let's go to phase M80. Phase cleanse already in there. Look at that. All right. Now for this matchup. So, at the major, both these teams are again layer enjoyers, and that's probably a guarantee map again I see in this series. And I mean they've already played each other in a best of 3, so really we can just kind of look at the veto here and probably expect similar things. Like I still see there's no way FaZe go to border unless the only way I see this ever going to border is if FaZe like hard prep a border and pick into it, and M80 are not ready for that shit at all. But that also can work against them because like Secret did that against M80. They were like, oh, we prepped this map against I think it was map 2. We prepped they said they prepped really well against Consulate on M80 and then they got shit on Consulate. So you could also have a situation like that. But yeah, again, we could also see a Consulate this series, I think, because both these teams like Consulate as well. And really, FaZe just love like the heavy defender favored maps, like any maps that give the attackers easy entries or quick entries into the map. FaZe don't really like playing, so that's like border, chalet, and kind of club. Just because of how linear club is, even though it's bigger than like a border or a chalet. So yeah, and then cafe as well. I said cafe as well, because of how just weird that map is because it's so like basic and up down simulator basically. So yeah, I definitely see like probably something similar to this where we see like consulate layer again. Though I really think M80 should, if FaZe leave up a skyscraper like this again, I think M80 should pick it. Even though like FaZe are definitely like they're gonna probably rack up defensive rounds on Sky. I think M80 is way too good on Sky to let FaZe get like too big of a lead. But that's just my opinion. And then M80 will probably like just go with the bank ban again this series. Like they haven't been playing the map at all. But like I said again, similar to what FaZe could do is who knows, they could pull out a surprise and leave bank up for FaZe to pick it, and then M80 have a well prepped bank because they have played it in the past this year. They just haven't been playing at this event. But yeah, for me, I think M80 get their revenge here. I think they're gonna go for that lower bracket run, and I think we're gonna get the Manchester Majors rematch. I think as long as M80, if M80 win this game, um, we're gonna get a rematch. Basically, we're either gonna get a Manchester rematch or we get a SI Grand Finals rematch. So both of those will be cinema, in my opinion, and that really happens no matter what. Because if Falcons lose to FaZe, we could potentially get the Manchester um, rematch in the lower bracket, and then if Falcons were to win that, they could rematch FaZe and get the SI Grand Finals rematch for the second time in the Grand Final as well. So yeah, this is what I'm going with. I'm going with Falcons and then M80 twice. So again, make sure to save your predictions, of course, and at the end of tomorrow's play day, I will be back for the Grand Finals version. It'll probably be a much shorter video because we're only talking about one series. So it is a best of 5. So we're going to talk a little more about what maps we're going to see because best of 5s usually result in some permabans slipping through. So yeah, if you watched to the end here, thank you, and have a good one.